Personal story segment tonight. Radical college professors all over the country. There's controversy about college teachers saying outrageous things to their students. In Nashville, Vanderbilt University professor Tony Brown, there he is, wrote an op-ed in the Tennessean newspaper saying, quote, "The facts show white people acting routinely to harm, demean, damage black and brown people. Bottom line is that it's everyday whites making everyday choices that lock in and protect white privilege," unquote. If that's not a racist statement, nothing is. Some months ago, a website called EAGnews.org went undercover to a white privilege conference held in Madison, Wisconsin. The speaker, Professor Adrienne Wing, who teaches at the University of Iowa College of Law.
So instead of just saying, oh, we're happy there's a black face in the White House, who's running the White House, instead of just serving in the White House, it's like, no, the master's house is now got a black face, but it's still the master's house. He works for the master of the system of white privilege.
Joining us now from Muskegon, Michigan, Kyle Olson, the head of EAG News. So there's a lot more, I'm sure, to Professor Wing's diatribe in front of the students. Set the scene. How many kids were there, and how bad did she get?
That was at the White Privilege Conference. There were roughly 2,000 educators, so school administrators, teachers, activists, those sorts of people, consuming this information and then going back to their schools and delivering it to the students.
Well, I don't know how you know they went back to the schools, but they certainly were consuming the information. Did anybody challenge this woman, Wing? Well, I may say, look, Barack Obama is part of the white privilege situation. Did anybody say anything about that?
No, there was no challenging at all.
Really?
Which I think is surprising. No. In fact, she made some statements about Clarence Thomas as well. And the students and the attendees laughed. And so my opinion is that they were firmly on board with what she was saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, to attend a white privilege conference, that tracks a certain kind of individual. Now, the Vanderbilt professor Brown, he's blaming all white people, everyday white people, not the white privilege Barack Obama wing of whatever racism. I mean, it just boggles the mind that now they're bringing in Barack Obama as a racist. He's putting black people down. But anyway, this guy, Brown, he's blaming all the white folks that are going out and seeking to harm black folks. I mean, how crazy do you have to be here?
Well, see, and that's the irony, is that they claim not to be racist. They claim that they don't want to have stereotypes in schools and in society and generally, and yet that's what they're pushing. They're pushing these assumptions. They're pushing stereotypes and all of those sorts of things. And so what we're trying to show is that this sort of white privilege training for educators is going on across the country, and school districts are spending millions of dollars on it every single year. And so what will happen is then the teachers are trained this way, and so then they implement it into the curriculum, and it shapes how they hold students accountable and how they put expectations on students.
Convince me that school districts across the country are doing this. Do you have stats?
Well, we've got, tomorrow we're releasing a report on our website where we have data from 40 school districts across the country that have spent millions of dollars on this over the last several years. And then what they will do, as I said, is they will, the administrators train the teachers, and they will say we need to have different expectations for students and accountability for students based on race. And so then they will implement that into the classroom.
The administrators are training the teachers to believe in white privilege and then to disseminate that belief to the students.
Yes.
And what if you don't believe it?
Yes, exactly.
Well, I was a teacher. I would never buy this malarkey. So what if you don't believe it? What happens? You get fired?
Well, I think a lot of teachers, they're not standing up because they're fearful for their jobs. They want to just go along to get along. And so they're pushing this on students. And see, the problem is that they're setting, for example, they say, well, there are some cultures where it's okay if you're late. Or there are some cultures where it's okay if you don't sit quietly and raise your hand, but you shout out an answer. And see, the problem is they're setting students up for failure, because what they're saying is that you can act that way.
Yeah, you can act, and it's like the Rastafarians. Okay, I'm a Rastafarian, so I can walk around stoned all day long, and it's my religion, and I can do it. Well, okay, but the marketplace may not embrace you. All right, Mr. Olson, we appreciate it. Thank you. When we come right back.